Join me as we talk all things true crime.
Made contact and shattered.
The missing 4-year-old. The parents have called me unadvised, but the mother has went through a wall, came home, now they can't find her.
Chad, where are Lori's kids? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say?
4 were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds.
Most of them had just like one that was the lethal stab wound.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave. Once I told a lie, and I told my family, I had to keep lying.
McSherman is a demon.
We haven't cleared anybody.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here, and welcome, Daphne, thank you so much for joining and becoming a new member. And Jay, I hope you have a good flight, and thank everybody for the birthday wishes that I got yesterday. It was a good day, and now I'm ready to kind of dig into the recent, I guess you could call it, news in the Watts case. The house is up for sale again. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Hi, Adrian and Unravel. Good to see you guys. Johnny, good to see you. Okay, thank you, Adrian. I sent you a message, Johnny. Let me know when you get it. It's kind of funny. Okay, so let me just switch up my screen and just pull up the Zillow account. I know everyone's been kind of reporting on this. I kind of wanted to just do a live coverage and discussion about it. The house was bought less than 2 years ago for $600,000, and it was brown. Chris picked the house color. So when it was previously brown, that was a choice that Chris made. And we all criticized him for it. We made jokes that, Chris brown house, NK brown bikini. And yeah, here we are. They are selling it now. The price has upped itself. From what I'm seeing from other people's opinions, it seems like because of the market right now, that seems like a normal increase in price for the way things are. Now, people want to know, and hello, Tony, it's good to see you. People want to know, why exactly are they selling it? Of course, the speculation has already gone wild. Is it because it's haunted? Is it because they received harassment? All I know is, now I've spoken with the realtor. I spoke with her when this sold, because everything was going crazy on social media, and that Facebook group that I run is one of the biggest ones in regards to the Watts case. And people were kind of putting public information out there that she didn't want in the group. So she messaged me and asked me to please take it down. I obliged her offer, took it down like she suggested, had no problem doing so. Her and I discussed the case a little bit. Some stuff that she said I find very interesting. I'm not really willing to discuss it right now. If this wasn't for sale again, I feel like I would have, but now that her name is out there again, I don't feel comfortable discussing what she had told me yet, but I plan on telling you guys someday, because one thing that she said was just very interesting, and it came from an insider, basically locals. So as we know, the first responders that took the girls out of the tanks, they obviously live in Colorado, and they told her husband some things, and she told me what they had said. But right now, I'm just not really willing to put all that out there, especially with the house being for sale again. So stay tuned. Someday I'll discuss what she said. But all I know is and when I say we, myself and other, web sleuths, we've looked into things. Okay, good, Johnny. I'm glad you sent it to Debbie. We've looked into things in regards to why this house is for sale. I don't want to put their business, the family's business out there. I know that some people have put their last name out on their video titles. Other people have um, just used speculation and stating it as facts. All I want to say is it's out there on public record why they're selling it. So if you guys want to look into it, if you have the means and resources to look into it, this is how they've redone it. I think it looks really nice, honestly. I like it better than the Watts house. Not anything against Shanann or who cares about Chris, right? But I feel like they did a really good job. They painted the outside. When we get to the basement, you can see they added installations. And thank you, Marshall Dove. I appreciate that. So all I know is it's not because it's haunted and not because of gawkers. Actually, can you guys hit that like button? I forgot to ask you guys earlier. Yes, Bubba, I think so too. It looks modernized, not that it was ever not modern. It's just more like my style, I guess you could say. Just like the neutral, cool tones. I really like blue, and they seem to have like, I don't know if this is dark blue or black, but I like it. And that's kind of like in right now. It's just kind of sad. We were kind of happy that the house was given new life with a new family with children. They have a swing set in the backyard, just like the Watts did. Bedroom looks pretty much set up almost exactly the same way Shanann did. They had a dresser up against the wall like that. They had their bed facing the door, which I don't know if you guys have heard this, but that's supposed to be bad feng shui. So you're never supposed to have your bedroom door facing your bed like that, like your bed facing to the door. That's just what I heard. I don't like to set my room up that way. This is the master bedroom or bathroom. Obviously, a lot of times we'll see Shanann in her live streams streaming in the bathroom. You like the bedroom better? And that's the thing too, is like I'm saying that they're not moving because it's haunted. People have said, oh, it must be haunted. People have said that there's EVPs in certain body cam footage. I've heard some interesting whisper stuff in interviews, like even with NK on the phone. I've heard some strange things in regards to this case in the house and stuff, but I just don't believe anyone died in the house. So I don't think that it's haunted because they died there. I know that spirits can kind of become attached to areas, even if they don't die in those areas, though. And when I say I know that, it's just my belief. I know not everybody believes that stuff. I just think that if there is some sort of hauntingness in this house, that it has to do with like evilness that NK brought into the house. That's just my personal opinion, because I'd like to think that they're, visiting family if they are spirits and they're coming back up to earth. I just don't think that they're like trapped in this house. Again, I don't think anyone died in the house. I did ask the realtor a year ago, because I know some states require you to disclose if a death happened in the house when you sell it. And she told me that Colorado does not require that. So there was nothing that she could say, like, yes, definitely that someone died in the house. But the family was well aware of who lived there and what it was and what had happened there. So people said, what's with the sheets? It's not sheets. These are, it's installation. So that's something new that they added to this house as well. So again, like I said, you can see it if you're able to dig into public records. Now, this is interesting too, because when the case broke, no one was living in these houses. In fact, some of them were still under construction. So when the Watts bought their house, there was nothing back there, nothing but open land. And then as the years went by, slowly you can see in Shanann's Facebook videos that she shows you construction and stuff like that that's taken place. She said that they were going to build another playground back there. And they have more than one playground in the neighborhood. It's an HOA neighborhood. Now there's a bunch of people living in those houses back there, but that wasn't the case when the case broke. So that's why a lot of people theorize that, something took place in the backyard because no one was living back there. The neighbor did not have a camera in the backyard at the time. Nobody had cameras back there because, like I said a million times, no one was living back there. So personally, I believe that if she was taken out of the house, it was through the back, either the windows in the basement. Again, let's kind of go back and I'll show you that basement. If they show the windows, I can't even remember. Okay, so these are what Chris called garden windows. And he says, right to Tammy, Agent Tammy, you can just walk in and you can see they slide. They're not like your typical storm basement windows, like how they're like smaller, like we have in New York. For whatever reason, the Watts constructed the home that way with those windows. It looks like they have a dog, just like, Dieter, that used to be his little yard. But yes, this is the swing set that they have back there. It's not the same one that the Watts had, but as you see, they're very close to neighbors. That was not the case when the Watts lived there. So I'm just curious if the Watts would have, again, they were looking to put their house up for sale anyways. Let's say they didn't hit financial troubles or even marriage troubles. I'm curious, would they have liked how much time and money they spent building that house, knowing that all that stuff was built afterwards? Like, I would be kind of annoyed because there's a video that Shanann does where she's like, and you can see the mountains from here, and you could, like, out on their back porch, you could literally see in the distance beautiful Colorado mountains. I do like I said earlier, how they painted the house. I like that a lot. And I didn't even notice that they painted like the deck area too. It has like the black accents there. And you can see the windows, like you jump down into that little storm well, I don't know if that's the right word, but and you slide it open. So I personally believe that that's how Shanann was taken out of the house. I believe the children left in the truck with Chris because of the shadow we see, and Shanann was taken out the back. So not much of a yard. That's the neighbor's house. And that's pretty much it, guys. That is the tour. Let's see what else. So I'm not really good at these 3D home things. They kind of hurt my eyes. I have like astigmatism. I don't know if that's why. But this is like the landing area. I guess they call it the loft. This is where her cell phone was found in that couch that was up there. Hello, Bella. It's good to see you. Lame, good to see you. I mean, it is nice. And that's what I wanted to ask chat. And for those on replay, like, if you guys could afford it, again, the mortgage, I think, was what, $4,600 a month. There's 4 bathrooms, 5 bedrooms. Would you guys buy this house? Would you want to live here? Like, even knowing who lived here prior, some people aren't bothered at all that, a crime took place here. I do think a crime took place in this house. I just don't think anyone died in this house. But I think a crime took place in here. Could I live in a house knowing that like something nefarious happened in it? Like, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to say. Like, and again, I'm stating it as if I could afford it. Like, it's a nice house, obviously. See, I'm not good at these 3D tours. Sorry, guys. Let's go back to the floor plan. Now, we have seen this house in body cam footages, and, it was kind of weird seeing them redo it when they would post the pictures and stuff like that. Now, Watts used to have like patio couch here. I like the Watts patio furniture better. So Jackie says no, she couldn't live there. It's a big house with cheap finishes and a big price tag. I wouldn't want to live there knowing what happened or even planned in there, right? Just knowing that NK was in this house planning something with Chris, like it just has that like bad vibe to it. Too big of a house for me, too much to clean. Exactly. That's where I'm at too. I think it's much easier to have like a smaller, cozier house. I don't think I would, Tony says. Hi, Dustin. Totally effed energy I feel would be there. I only want to live in a places with good energy. That's important to me. I agree. And the other thing too, I don't know if you guys ever saw that. Um, oh, that's nice. I'm jealous, Bella. That sounds really lovely. I don't know if you guys ever saw like some of the pictures of the neighborhood, but there's like oil wells in their neighborhood. So when we talk about in other live streams, the fracking that Anadarko and other oil companies there do, I mean, they pretty much came out, and you can look up all these articles. Some of them are linked in my description box. Oil companies were selling, well, I don't know if they were selling the builders the land or if somehow whenever they decided to build these new homes, these new builds and these HOA communities, they were building on top of underground oil fracking like wells and pipes. So unbeknownst to the buyers, they had like underground wells near their house. To me, that would be like totally no, especially because of that house explosion that took place in 2017 that had to do with an underground pipe that was not maintained. It cracked, and oh, good, Mo, sold to Modine. So basically, yeah, that's how that one house explosion took place. A cracked pipe near a brand new house was filling their basement with like fumes, flammable, toxic fumes. And then all of a sudden, it exploded one day. So there's no way that I would want something like that near my house. And they've linked that stuff, fracking and stuff, to like asthma and other health issues with children, because like it's in the dirt, like, and it's polluted ways and all that. So it's not that I'm against it. It's just I think the Anadarko and other oil companies, like they're not maintaining them as they should. Even after the house explosion, Anadarko was told you need to make sure all your wells are up to date with, safety and all that. They didn't do that. They still didn't do that. They were told, okay, well, you need to have cameras out at these oil tanks. They didn't do that. So when, Chris allegedly disposes of his family at the oil tank, there should have been cameras there. But the companies are just, they run the show basically. All right. So I think we've gotten the feel for the house. I think if you guys can read between the lines, the house is being sold for reasons that I don't want to come out and say publicly because it's the family's business, but it has been, you can look it up on public records and see why they're selling it. That's all I'm going to say. So, right. All right, so the other part of this live stream I wanted to kind of just display is just random discussion on the case. I found a video I had put together a while ago, and I just never published it. So I figured that Skinny, all I'm going to say is it's public information. Anyone can look it up. Wink, wink. That's all I'm going to say. But so yeah, people are, for the most part, I don't think I've seen anybody say that they would buy this house. All right. So what I want to do is just share this video that I kind of put together. It's kind of got like interesting images based on the case, and then we can kind of discuss it. The sheets are a big thing that I kind of want to talk about tonight. So here we go. So it says the following are extra interesting pictures from the Watts case. Again, I made this video a while ago, so it's not the best editing. So I believe this is the last group photo of the family together. Obviously not the last images of Shanann or of Cece and Bella, but as a family, this is them leaving North Carolina, headed back to Colorado. Now, again, Shanann had told her friends that, she didn't feel safe with Chris because of what he was saying about the baby. And Sandy will come out saying, and after the crime, that, she asked Shanann to stay with them. Like, she just had a feeling that, she needed to stay home. And home, I mean, North Carolina. This image of a lone pro. And yeah, Bella, I see what you're saying. Unfortunately, I don't think that there's profit to be made for them. All I'm going to say. If you guys can understand what I'm saying, I think you can figure it out. But I don't think the profit will be going to the family. And Jay, the music everything I do is in iMovie. It's just a really easy editing program. Protester I have never seen before. Chat, have you guys seen this image before? It'd been at like a few years, and then all of a sudden I seen it and I was like, why have I never seen this? So this was outside the courthouse on one of Chris's first court dates. And now when I talk about people being against oil companies and the atmosphere around oil companies being very intense, which is why I believe the explosion theory, this is kind of goes into that, because it shows you that Colorado residents, not everybody was for what they were doing. It says here a lone protester stood outside the courtroom on Tuesday waving a place card. He told Daily Mail that Anadarko, the petroleum company where Watts worked, had to share the blame for the murders. It also says that wherever Anadarko does business, murders, aggravated assault, rapes, STDs, and human trafficking all go up, claimed O'Connor. What Chris did to his wife and kids, Anadarko is doing to my community. Okay, and I seen somebody asked what Chris and Shanann bought the house for. I'm looking at the public records, and it says 300 and, well, pretty much 400,000. So that's what they built it and got it for. And that was back in 2013, it says. This is Shanann talking to her friend. Chris told me last night he's scared to death about this third baby, and he's happy with just Bella and Celeste. And doesn't want another baby. I don't feel safe with him after what he said about the baby. Okay, so these, obviously, for those who know this case, this is a text message from a coworker to Chris, and he is showing Chris a video of an oil well and tank that exploded. Now, Now, when NK in the investigation broke, we can see in the discovery files, hands law enforcement some clothing. I'm assuming it was maybe this shirt was thrown in there as well. It says still plays with blacks, and it's like mechanic engine or whatever. So very interesting. John, if it's too loud, do you have a volume button? So this is showing the records from the phone records from Nicole Kessinger. For some reason, the top one for July to August it's whited out what kind of phone it comes from. So on the bottom, it shows August to September, and it says Moto. And then it gives, I don't know if that's a Z3 or 23. I can't really see on my screen. But interesting that they kind of hid her phone on the top for the records and not on the bottom. Don't know why. This is straight from the discovery. When a case breaks, law enforcement is told to hand over all their handwritten notes as well. And this was something that Chris said during his interview with FBI agent Coder. They're discussing NK, and he says, don't let her go down. So a lot of people have wondered, what's that about? Why is he telling the FBI agent, how to conduct the investigation and to protect NK? And it looks like they did. Now, a lot of people kind of forget about the Snapchat aspect in this case. So, a lot of people talk about how we don't have text message from them and all from NK and Chris, but what about Snapchats? Those messages don't disappear. They disappear on your app, and you're not able to pull it up when you're using the app. But we've seen in the Alex Murdaugh case, Snapchat has their own cloud, their own storage area. And anything you send that disappears, they actually still have in their storage. So they pulled the information in the Alex Murdaugh case from Snapchat, and were able to kind of pinpoint the video that Paul sent his friend, the time, and all that. Here in this case, not only do we not have the full text message between Chris and NK, but there's a whole other level of it too. Like, why don't we have the Snapchats too? Like, that was also something that would have been brought up in trial. Anything that they sent to each other through Snapchat, they would have been able to pull and relook at. Now they use the secret calculator app. We talked about that in a previous live stream, and it straight up says in their discovery files that you could get a subpoena and dig into what was being said between them on the secret calculator app. Same thing with Snapchat. So, in other things in this case that maybe people just don't realize, like that is just a mystery, what exactly was in Chris's Snapchat? So this is Agent Tammy on one of the first mainstream media shows. I can't remember which one this was. There was a few of them that like came out right away that she was on there kind of being a parrot for the district attorney and, the state. And she says, the second tank had Bella inside. I can't get that image out of my head. However, the discovery, you can see it it pretty much says that Tammy wasn't present for when Bella was taken out. Says it right on the bottom line. After Celeste had been recovered, I left the scene and was not present during the recovery of Bella from the West tank. So then why did she come out on mainstream media and say that she was there for when Bella was taken out and she can't get that out of her head? Now, at first I kind of was like, okay, let me give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she's referring to to recovery photos, once she's flipping through and seeing what they took. John, do you have a volume button? Yes, I can turn it down on my end, but you should be able to control the volume as well. All right, so why exactly? I don't get why she had to lie about that. Don't get it. Hi, Roxanne. Good to see you. Okay, so these are photos of the fridge in their basement. This also kind of emphasizes the fact that we never have any photos from, yeah, I think she went home and collapsed. Tammy mentioned, right. And exactly, I don't understand, it's almost like she sensationalized the case for that mainstream media show, saying that she saw Bella come out of the tanks and can't get it out of her head. Like, we can all fact check your statement. And you say in the discovery files you left before Bella was taken out. So why do you have to go on mainstream media and sensationalize like your role in everything? I know people kind of stand by Tammy and love her. I personally think that she botched a lot of this case. I think Chris was very close to maybe confessing the truth, and she blamed Shanann for the children's death, and Chris went with it. I see so many times. In fact, I saw another video the other day about Sebastian Rogers, who's missing, and they were talking about the polygraphs that the parents need to take, and they said Chris Watts folded after he failed his polygraph and told them exactly where the bodies were. No, that's not what happened. What happened was the drone footage earlier that day, and this is all in discovery files too, located Shanann's shallow grave. So that had nothing to do with the polygraph being failed, quote unquote, which we never even saw his results. We were just told that. He did tell us what tanks the girls were in, but that had nothing really to do with the polygraph. So the whole thing about the fridge is we see pictures of the downstairs fridge and it had beer in it. Chris and Shanann didn't really drink beer. So we all wondered, who was the beer for? There were pictures of Leave Jim Alone, a lot of them on social media where he's drinking beer. There's a lot of drinking pictures of NK. And the whole thing about not seeing inside the fridge upstairs that's problematic is we don't know if he really packed the children's lunches. He claims he did. We never get to see, are the children's lunches packed in the fridge upstairs? Another mystery. He was asked to pack the children's backpacks. The backpacks are found in the office in the corner, and they were packed because you can see stuff hanging out of them. I think law enforcement unzipped them and looked, and that's why we see it kind of disheveled and stuff coming out of it. But there's a whole live stream that myself and CDT did on CDT's channel. All you have to do is search through YouTube CDT Watts case and then do backpacks. And it'll walk you through how we believe that you can see clear as day that the backpacks were packed. So it kind of goes into the whole theory in our minds that yes, he planned Shanann's demise, but we don't believe that the children were in Chris's plans. We believe that they were collateral damage because the plan fell apart and no explosion took place. So therefore, they were witnesses to way too much and had to go. That's our theory. Of course, everyone has their own, but there was certainly a blue glove and book on the top of the fridge. That's right. And why? And it not only was it a book, it was Bella's favorite book because she Zillow will say that, but my records aren't coming from Zillow. Yes, I showed you the Zillow link, but there's other means to look up public records. But yes, it does say for sale, not foreclosure. And in fact, what I'm looking at doesn't even say, I just want to leave it at that. I just don't want to put their like business out there like that, like for the sake of sharing stuff on my channel. I'd rather talk about the case. But I think you guys can kind of figure it out. So anyways, what was I saying? Sorry, I just get distracted sometimes when I look at chat, but I don't want to miss your guys' comments. Oh, okay. So yeah, there was a Facebook post that Shanann had made. Can't remember the date of it, but she shows a book and she says something about it being Bella's favorite book. And that was the book that was found on top of the fridge next to a blue nitrile glove. And that blue nitrile glove was logged into evidence. We've gone through the glove live stream, and we just never got to see the completion of that evidence or any evidence because of the plea deal. So whose fingerprints were on the glove, whose touch DNA was on the glove, could it have even been Shanann's, all this stuff, kind of a mystery, and we just don't know because of the plea deal. Yes, the Starbucks cup is another very interesting aspect. There is a picture that I will show in this little array of pictures that show the Starbucks cup was taken out of the trash and put on the counter. Remember the sheets and the pillowcases were found in that trash? So they certainly took that out and were interested in it. So some people think that it was Nikki's son's cup. Other people think it was possibly NK's cup. Other people think that it was the Thayer's cup or Nick Thayer's cup. It's just another thing that we just don't really know 100% because DNA process was never completed. Now, this is how her flip-flops were found. Now, remember when Nicole Atkinson's talking on the phone and saying her side of things, and she says her shoes are here, her car is here. Those were her favorite shoes. In fact, you see so many pictures of Shanann wearing these black flip-flops. They were her favorite kind. And yeah, it could have been from anyone. In fact, I don't even think that Starbucks cup is mentioned in the discovery files. So that almost leads me to think that it isn't anything nefarious. But however, how could we know? Because so many things were kind of sidestepped in this investigation. We just don't know. Yeah, she wore these daily pretty much, especially, summertime. So it's just crazy to kind of we see her walk up to the front door in the Vivint footage, and we see her flip-flops left right inside the door. We don't know what took place after that, but we do know, like we discussed in our last live stream, her phone did not have any activity. So to me, that's red flag. Something happened right away, I feel. That's just my opinion. Why do I think NA asked why she was was she going to be arrested? Now that, there's so many things that people kind of are like hesitant on with Nicole Atkinson. I think maybe it has something to do with, I think it's possible that her and her son made entry into the house before calling 911. The only reason why I think that is because, for one, she asks if she's going to be arrested. For two, they don't call out her name when they get in the house. It's almost like they had already looked through it. And the other thing that I think maybe she thought she would be arrested for is, now this is another mystery we don't understand or know why, but the Ruseks asked her to take a makeup bag out of one of Shanann's suitcases. So I think, did it have something to do with her taking the makeup bag? Now I don't know what was in that makeup bag, but there was a reason for whatever. I don't know what it was. And I'm not going to say that had anything to do with the murder, but they wanted her to take a makeup bag. So I don't know. But I will say that I don't think Nicole Atkinson had anything to do with the murder. And I think that it's preposterous and a waste of time for people to kind of go down that angle. But again, I can't tell people what theories to explore because not everyone agrees with my theory. So we know through other live streams we've shared old media clips, specifically HLN when Ashley Banfield was covering this case, and they were waiting for so long for anything from the autopsy. Now, again, the crime took place August 13th, and they had to wait and for a while. This was signed off on the 26th of September. A lot of people were wondering, why did it take so long for the medical examiner to sign off on things? We don't know. I don't think she was involved with anything but trying to help Shanann and the girls. I agree. I think they went into the house too for the exact same reason. When she went in with law enforcement, it was like they already knew that they weren't there. Yeah. And she said something about the kids' car seats are in the car, and other people are like, how did she know that? You can't see the car seats from the outside, blah, blah. And it's a valid point, but it's like, the problem with it all is they sealed the Vivint records. The Vivint records would show us what movement was taking place inside that house, and they have sealed it up. So we can't, say that Nicole Atkinson never made it in the house because we just don't have the evidence to kind of clear it. So the theory kind of just sits out there, unfortunately, because I just don't think it was anything nefarious. I just think, they broke entry into a house that wasn't theirs. And obviously it was a crime had taken place, or they felt something was wrong. So then she was worried that she was going to be arrested because she thought maybe they had known that she made it in the house. I don't know. But again, I just don't think she had anything to do with the murders. So I just feel like we almost waste our time kind of going around about it. The thing that I want to know is, if they did make entry into the house, was it, how? Now we know the garage door was broken with the keypad on the outside. But could you lift it maybe, and the son crawled under and got in? You know what I mean? These are all things like we just don't know. We really just don't know. And we could clear all this speculation up if they didn't seal the security records for their home security system. So them having no time of death, it's so hard because we've gone through so much stuff in other live streams, but I have to kind of repeat some of it. There was an expert, a DNA expert, specifically, I believe it was Touch DNA, and I can't remember the live stream. We kind of read it through, but there was the defense team wanted to use this expert, in determining if there was fingerprints or any DNA on the girls' necks. And the court told them, no, you're not allowed to swab the girls' necks and get a second opinion. This DNA expert said even though they were in oil for a few days, he believed that you would be able to still pull touch DNA from them possibly. So the theory that they couldn't find a time of death for the girls because they were in oil, it could be possible, but I think that there are other people who maybe would have been able to give their opinion for a time of death for everybody. Now we know that Shanann's stomach was empty. She ate before the airplane, but that your stomach is only digesting for about an hour and a half up to 2 hours before it empties itself. So the fact that her stomach was empty doesn't really help us for a time of death for her or anything like that. The only thing that I can maybe say that they should have maybe been able to determine a time of death for her is the larvae, whatever you want to say, for flies. So when there's decomposition, what stage were the insects at when they were on Shanann when she was found? But, we are told that all this happened and the disposal happened Monday morning before Chris goes home and the body cam shows him on camera. But that is just a theory. And, she very well could have been killed that morning. But as far as everyone being disposed and every single one of them, we just don't know. You can believe the district attorney if you want to. I will say you should check his records and check how many times he actually went back on things he stated in this case and said, well, actually, we found out that it was this, blah, blah, blah. So he's already gone back on his own theory when it first came out. So I personally am not believing that the deaths and disposal all happened by Chris in the morning. I think that there should have been a way to kind of determine, especially for Shanann, a time of death. But we just don't have that. And the other thing is, do we not have it because of something on purpose? Are they purposely hiding the time of deaths because they don't align with what the district attorney was hoping to sow? We just don't know. We really don't know. Tammy is head of CBI right now. What do you mean? Oh, I'm sure she got a lot of promotions. She fell on the sword, and it was because of her that, Chris, although I will say, I think he would have folded even with Coder. He's very weak. We all see how weak Chris is. He did not need Tammy to blame Shanann and all that. So Going Postal thinks that we don't have a time of death because they're hiding the truth and that it might not align with what the district attorney has told us. I feel like that's highly possible. I don't trust the district attorney. I don't trust CBI. I don't trust Chris, and I don't trust NK. So there's just a lot of things that are just questionable. This is just an image of one of the gift cards that were given to Chris from Anadarko that we hear them reference in their interviews and NK's interviews. So this is a page in the discovery. It's an investigation board, and Troy and NK are circled on the whiteboard. Again, we don't know why, just think it's interesting. And Troy is one of the co-workers, the one that was at the crime scene before the bodies were discovered and lied about being there, and also lied to the water truck guy who was there doing his job on the tanks. So just sketchiness. While in the neighbor's house, this is a text message that Chris sent NK. We've talked about this before, and we have no idea what this is truly about. We never hear law enforcement ask him about this text message. And when NK is asked about it, she tells everybody that she was at the grocery store and saw unicorn Lucky Charms and thought the kids would love them. I personally don't believe that that's what it was about. That was a picture of Detective Baumhover, who was the last person to handle NK, according to the discovery files. This is a picture taken of him at sentencing, I believe. And shortly after he retires with disability for PTSD, he claims from seeing the images of the girls coming out of the tanks. A lot of people speculate that he left for more than just that reason, perhaps the corruption, perhaps there were other things that needed to be uncovered, but because he's outranked and just not able to do certain things, it was out of his hands. I think that there's much more to his retirement. He's a young guy. I'm sure he's seen horrible things being a homicide detective in Colorado prior to this case. I think that there's much more to him retiring than just the tanks and the recovery process of the girls. But that's just my opinion. Yeah, that's the other thing about the text message. Like, I thought you were at work. Like, why are you at the grocery store? It just didn't make sense. And they didn't press her on it. They didn't say like, wait, when did you see them? Because I thought you were at work till 3:30 or 3 o'clock, whatever. Now, this was something I noticed very early on. She's offered a water in one of her interviews. She gives the empty bottle. Actually, I believe as they were leaving, Agent Kobach, that's him right there on the right, offered to throw it out for her. So, as many of you guys know who follow true crime, you never hand over your cup to law enforcement. This is one of the last images of Shanann. This is in the discovery. Says perhaps the last image of Shanann taken in life. Now we have photos of her at dinner before they go to the airport. We also have her on the Vivint, but maybe this was like the last selfie that she took on her phone that they have. And it says Watts took photos of the girls playing in the distance in a backyard near a small pool. So that never says that Chris sent that picture to Shanann. Whereas some of the discovery will say, Chris sent Shanann a picture of the girls and they were blah, 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 blah. So why did he take a picture of the girls if he had planned on killing them? Well, is he just cold-hearted and he's like, oh, let me just keep this picture as remembrance? Or, was he just doing what every parent does, documenting a good day and saving it, and the girls were not in his plans? Either theory is possible, and you can't discredit either of them. This was before the house was sold. That's how old this video is. That was obviously when they owned the place on the left. And then as it sat empty before anybody bought it, the sun and just regular damage just deteriorated their little place set. And it just got very old looking. I was told that Frank Sr. took the playset and he has it. What kind of flip-flops were they? I don't remember. They were mentioned somewhere about it. Maybe in Nicole Atkinson's interview. I can't remember. Now, this is the backyard and the body cam footage. People wondered why there was a random person walking with a shovel. Other people have said it's a tripod with a camera. Just something interesting. Now, this is one of the last images. We kind of talked about this in our last live stream. Before they get on the plane, there was a delay, and that is Cindy, Addie, and Nicole Atkinson with her.
The type of attention or publicity it has gotten has been overwhelming. Women have gone out and bought the cardigan I was wearing. It's all been very surreal.
Now, don't say it just because you want to agree with me, but I don't think that sweater was attractive at all. I would not go out and buy the cardigan. What do you guys think of that sweater Tammy had? Just wondering, because the way that she says that on like that mainstream media show, it's like she knew that other people like wanted to look like her and stuff. Like, what? Yeah, Jay says, what? How egotistical. She is. She's literally like when people talk about narcissists in this case, I'm sorry, but I think that Tammy definitely is one. Sorry, Tammy. So this is the image of the sheet hanging in the evidence locker. We've gone through the evidence locker footage and video before. This is a screenshot flipped upside down because you can see the brown paper bag there on the left. And this is where people are saying that you can see the imprint of her. So her face, you can see her chest, her arm is up. Just let me know what you guys think. This was an interesting quote during the confession. I believe this is after he said that Shanann killed the girls, so he killed Shanann. I can't say that that's when this happened, but at some point, Chris says to his father, the problem is I don't even know if they believe me or not. Now, what does that mean exactly? What was he trying to get them to believe? I don't know. Because remember, so many times he said, I did not hurt my girls. I did not kill my babies. He said it so many times. So is that what he's talking about when he says, I don't know if they even believe me or not? Like, we just don't know what that meant. I know. Just her kind of boasting about people have even gone out and bought the sweater I was wearing. You just pay attention to everybody's sweater and what they're purchasing. I don't understand how she would have even known that. Yes, I know, Tony. I've never seen anyone wearing a sweater like that except Tammy. You see it, Zoe? Isn't it just kind of, oof? So though that was found in the body cam footage, people wonder if that's a yellow ashtray with a box of cigarettes on top. Still debatable. did look like Newports. I can't zoom in from like this feature, like sharing this video file, but you should be able to zoom in. Like if you have to pause it, like on your device, you should be able to use your fingers and zoom in, like if you're using your phone or if you're using a laptop. Some laptops allow you to zoom as well. Which I'm curious, Debbie, which photo you wanted to zoom in on. Right, and do those if those are Newports, does it have anything to do with the lighter found on the passenger side of Chris's truck? Chris did not smoke, by the way. Green box of menthol Newport smokes. The cigarettes. Okay, I can't zoom in like through this feature. Maybe in the next live stream, I can replay this video and zoom in, and we can do that way. This I think is interesting because a lot of people talk about how Chris didn't have a girlfriend or date or anything like that, but it looks like he had a prom date. As far as I know, Sandy Rusek did not smoke. These are tweets that took place during when the case first broke. Says, I was too busy stalking witnesses. Ha ha ha. Did you find the witness, Cody Roberts? Cody Roberts is a coworker of Chris's. Facebook before he deleted it. I found it shortly after they released a witness list, but he deleted it shortly after. So we know that Cody was going to be a witness. Whatever it is, they blocked me from seeing it. Let me borrow someone else's phone. So after this girl was kind of trying to reach out to Cody, she got blocked. These two men lost the same people on the same day. Chris Watts is a POS. And she's showing a screenshot of Cody Roberts' Facebook. This was also something that was put out on the mainstream media. It looks like it's a Lifetime show or Oxygen. And it's a CBI agent. So right there is enough I need to hear and see anything, any entity from Colorado. I'm sorry, much like the Delphi case in Indiana, I'm very weary of people in authority speaking out because I believe that they're corrupt. That there's no other way to put it. But CBI agent comes out on mainstream media and it says, after investigating her, we were confident that she had no role in this tragic event. Well, it's funny because your other CBI agent, Tammy Lee, came out saying, whoa, 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 like, we're not done. We weren't done investigating. We weren't done running evidence. We weren't done with our interviews. As soon as Chris Watts signed the plea deal, everything ended. So she's saying that the investigation didn't complete. And now he's saying on mainstream media, like, no, we did everything we did or vetted her. Like, which is it? CBI is saying two different things to mainstream media. This is the message that girl is sharing. She says, Cody, make your profile private. Being called as a witness, I found you in 2 seconds. Shut it down, hun. Good luck. Okay, so now we're going to get into the sheets because the sheets have been something that's just kind of a conundrum. Here on the left, you can see the Starbucks cups taken out of the trash in that officer's hand. Luckily, they're wearing a glove, unlike other evidence that we've seen them handle in this case without gloves. We don't know much about that cup. We don't know much about a lot of the DNA evidence in this case, was never processed. So let me just switch up my screen before we go through these photos. And I want to pull up the discovery file because this has been an issue. So I word searched fitted sheet because we know that that was found out at Survey and it had dirt on it. However, here in the discovery files, the fitted sheet was next to the comforter on the floor, and the pillows were on the other side of the bed on the floor. I did not observe the top sheet anywhere. Okay, so this is where people are confused because we see the fitted sheet out at Survey in the field. So why is this statement saying that the fitted sheet was at home on the body cam, and they're saying that they don't see the top sheet? So in my opinion, I think that they just got it backwards. I don't know why they would get a detail like that wrong, but a lot of people have sourced this and been like, why was the fitted sheet mentioned at the house if it was found at the site? I think that they made a mistake. I think it's another example of a mistake made. And Nicole stated Shanann works from home. Okay. The other thing too is I believe Nicole Atkinson says that the fitted sheet wasn't there. So I don't know. It's just a conundrum. Again, in this case, it's being stated that it was seen on camera at home. Now, the other page that I want to show too before we go back to those photos is, oh, hi. Did not mean to turn that camera on. This page here. So this is just a page in the discovery, talks about the evidence that they recovered from the house. It says recovered pillowcase with residue. So in the trash, parts of the bedding was found and there's something on it. We don't know what it is. It's like a brownish color. People have said maybe it's blood, maybe it's this or that. Maybe it's a chemical used to sedate her and it came up looking that way on the sheet. We just don't know. They're referring to it as residue. So they're not referring to it as blood. Top bed sheet with residue. So here is another page in the discovery that kind of backs up the fact that that one page was just spelled or spoken wrong. This is saying the top sheet was there. Again, they don't pull the sheets out until Tuesday. And you know, the sheets, when they're on body camera and they're looking in the bedroom and the sheets are all on the floor, that's on Monday. So that one page that we just showed where it said fitted sheet was on the floor, that's in reference to what they observed on Monday. Here, when the bed sheet is found in the trash, that's on Tuesday. So people have said like, okay, well, maybe something changed in that one day, maybe, but I personally just think they made a mistake. I'm more focused on the fact that they're calling the stain on the sheet residue. You would think that they would, I don't know, would they, if it was blood, would they say residue? I guess you can't really say it's blood without testing it. Although you can, they have little kits that you can just test right then and there, don't they? Hi, Valerie. Good to see you. All right, back to this. Okay, so this shows the sheets found in the trash. Again, all this stuff was taken out on Tuesday. Was it in there on Monday and we just didn't know? What do you guys think? Now this, I'm pointing out the pillows on the floor. This was taken, I believe, on Tuesday because Chris remade the bed the night that he stayed the night Monday, remakes the bed, but he leaves the pillows that were on the bed previously stripped and on the floor. So because these don't have pillowcases on them, I'm under the impression that those pillowcases were in the trash Monday when officers were there and we just don't look in the trash. But why does he remake the bed and still leave those pillows on the floor? That's what's confusing to me. So pillows on the floor, no pillowcases on them. These are the pillowcases that were found and pulled out of the trash. You can see there's residue, brownish residue on some. And hello, Allison, and everyone else who's joined. Here's a zoomed in image, or closer up image of the residue with sort of a pattern in a way on it. Now, people have said in other videos that you can see glittery stuff on it as if it was maybe her makeup. This is where I also get confused, and I'm wondering how the events took place, because we've speculated on other live streams that they ambushed her in the basement. But then we've also been like, but then why was the bedding stripped? So something must have happened upstairs in the bedding, and something must have happened downstairs in the basement, because the dogs, and it was just like a vibe down there that seemed like something took place down there. Maybe that's just like we said earlier, that's just where they were taken out, or Shanann was taken out. Looks like eye makeup except the sheets from the grave. And then in other pictures, it's like, is it makeup though? Because there's so much of it. This was something that a moderator had made in a group. They believe that it's an imprint of, because look at all that. Like, there's no way that all can be her makeup. Like, what is that brown residue? It's just very odd. They think that, maybe that's the outline of her face. Again, this is just a theory. This isn't anything I'm saying is 100% accurate, or that you should say like, yes, absolutely, I see it. I just think it's us kind of digging over and over and wondering, like, is this pattern on this sheet her face? I just don't understand why there would be all that. It's very odd. Okay, so here's another zoomed in picture of the residue. I just don't think it's blood. I think it's too brown to be, I mean, although I guess old blood can turn brown, like when it oxidizes or whatever. Did she have a nosebleed? Good question. There's nothing in the autopsy that describes an injury to her face. Believe there's just something around her jaw and her neck. If you guys remember otherwise, let me know. But it's an interesting theory. Nosebleed, perhaps, maybe from being ambushed in the bed. It's just like, why is it almost like a square or like triangle? It's got like sharp edges to it. Her eyebrows, yes, she did fill them in. She was definitely strangled. The autopsy says that for sure. Yeah, I'd love to know about the fingernail scrapings, because they clipped them all. In the autopsies, you can see that they mention every single one of the children's and hers were taken in. And we just never got, and even if it is blood, it's just a strange pattern. We just never got the process from the DNA analysis for anything. Nail clippings, stuff on the neck, nothing. Touch DNA, nothing. So this is just kind of showing the crime scene. The bed sheet is one of the furthest things out. And then these are just different images of that fitted sheet. Now, remember, we discussed this and we read it through the agent's reports. There was nothing on this sheet besides dirt. It's all explained by the agent in his notes. This guy, probably who is in this picture, wrote the notes. And he said that it was from being dragged, he believed. So when Chris says that she emptied her bowels in the car, in the truck, I should say, what is he talking about? Because she's in a thong, she's wearing practically nothing. There should be excrement on the sheet then. So once again, I believe that Chris lied in that prison interview for whatever reason. That's just my opinion. But there's definitely nothing from your bowels being emptied on that sheet. And that's a problem because if the confessions don't match the crime scene and the science and the autopsies, like that's not good in my opinion. All right, so this is I put this together today. The sheet that they said smelled, that was the coroner sheet. So that wasn't the fitted sheet. We never see whatever happens to the fitted sheet. So there actually could have been touch DNA from perpetrators on that sheet that we just don't know. The coroner sheet definitely had a decomposition smell. And that was wrapped around her, like she's taken out of the shallow grave, put on that coroner sheet, and it's supposed to preserve evidence before putting her into the like plasticky body bag. Yeah. So, yeah, Johnny, I mean, you would think there would be some type of fluid from her. Say she did have a nosebleed from the attack. There's no blood on that. Although there was supposedly Chris put a bag over her head and feet, which is also weird because I kind of describe it in this live stream with CDT. Like it was a king size sheet. Why did you have to put a sheet or a bags over her head and her feet? I don't know. He said so the girls didn't look at her in the truck or whatever, but it's like the sheet was big enough to wrap around her. Just doesn't make sense, the things he says. So this is just a look at the body camera footage. Again, we've already looked at this previously and way, way, way back. And we don't see the fitted sheet. So when I pulled up the discovery files and it says there was a fitted sheet, here, I don't see it. There's a point where I even slow it down. So let's just watch. And this is what the bedroom looked like when they arrived on scene. So I'm slowing it down to slow motion just so that we can kind of see it a little bit better because he goes really fast. In my opinion, you guys let me know what you think. I don't even see the pattern on these sheets, like the patterns that we see with the fitted sheet out at Survey or the ones in the trash. I don't even see it, but it's so hard with this type of quality. No, you're fine, Landry. I don't think that that's disrespectful. I mean, this is true crime. So asking if there would be blood from Nico when it was expelled from her. I think that happened already when she was in the grave. So in some of the images that I shared of the shallow grave, you can kind of see blood on the bottom. I think that took place when she was already in the grave. So usually, now a lot of people don't believe that what she had was a coffin birth, but if she did have a coffin birth, that happens once decomposition has built up in the body and gas is created, and then it pushes the fetus out. So she wasn't buried in that fitted sheet. which is another thing that's weird. It's like, why wouldn't you just put her in the grave in the sheet? And why were the plastic bags taken off her face and feet and spread out there at Survey? Like, why didn't it all just go in the shallow grave together? I don't know. But I think that took place, couple days into decomposition. If she had a coffin birth, other people don't believe that. Other people think that it was just a miscarriage. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say, and experts at a trial would have gone up on the stand and given their example. And they would have said, yes, we believe that this was a coffin birth and this is why, or, this or that. There, turn the volume down. Okay, so this clip that I put together, I'm going to leave the sound on because you can kind of hear them talking. So this is when Baumhover walks into their bedroom for the first time. And this is him kind of looking around. I can't remember. Did she say she was spotting? I know she said she felt sick or something, but either way, she went in for an ultrasound before her trip to Arizona and shared the picture on, I think she sent it to Ronnie or something. There's record of Nico before her trip to Arizona, and she mentions how Bella got to hear the heartbeat and stuff. So it's all very strange in regards to her pregnancy at that point. But it seemed as though when she left for Arizona, everything was fine according to the sonogram. Oh, Sandy said it. Where did Sandy say that? I just would love to resource that. Either way, she went to the doctor before Arizona and Bella got to hear the heartbeat. So it would seem like everything was fine at that point. Yeah, Chris, there was one where he wouldn't hold her hand, and then there was another instance, maybe before North Carolina, where he wasn't able to make it because of storms and he was stuck out at work. And he was like sending Shanann pictures of the storm or something. Okay, no problem. If you find it, let me know. I just would love to re-listen to that. So he leans in. What's his name? Coonrod says, I checked those and I didn't see anything on them. Believe he's picking up pillows or something on the floor there. The whole oxy thing, again, that came out like after Chris was in prison to Cato, the author who plagiarized her whole book. I don't believe a word of it, honestly. Even Chris's own words in that book don't make any sense. And he's changed his statements numerous times. Okay, here is Baumhover going over to the sheets on the floor. The whole theory that he was giving her oxy to miscarriage makes no sense to me because, I had a friend that got in a car accident when she was pregnant and she was, prescribed oxy. People do opioids during their pregnancy and they don't miscarry, sadly. I mean, sadly, as in they're using drugs while they're pregnant. Miscarriages that doesn't cause a miscarriage. So I don't know why Chris said the reason why there's oxy there is because I gave it to her to cause a miscarriage. I think he's just a liar. Okay, so that was just to show, like, I didn't see the fitted sheet personally on the floor. So I think that that page in the discovery was just a mistake. Um, hold on, I'm just gonna, yeah, and that's the other thing is like that people saying he was crushing it up, like they made it oxys like where they're not crushable because people were abusing it and snorting it. So again, I just think the oxy thing is a lie. We don't see anything in her autopsy stating that she had any in her system. Obviously, that wouldn't be in her system if it happened in North Carolina, but um she the only thing that we have of oxy in the discovery is on Chris's phone, he Googled oxy 80. That's the only thing in this case that we have proof of oxy being attached. Yes, her symptoms that she was describing to her friend sounded like what people experience when they take oxy. However, she also had a gallstone that was very large that causes a lot of the same symptoms. And I don't know, guys. I know a lot of people are very gun ho about that. They believe even Chris's sister gave it to him to give to her. Like, I can't get on board with it until I see more evidence. And Chris saying that he gave it to her to cause a miscarriage is not evidence to me because he's a liar. I would believe that Shanann tried to self-abort the baby because Chris giving her the oxy, that's what I believe it was, what he would take to his grave if the oxy happened. It's just and everyone's entitled to their opinions, so yeah, it's very hard to get. I don't even know how anyone would get any of it, right? And it's hard. Yeah, oxy 80 is a lot. Or NK. She was also taking Amitrex, which was for her migraines, which could cause negative side effects. Right. There's so many things too. And she never went to a OBG while she was out in North Carolina either. Like even her friend, when she sent her those texts about feeling sick or whatever, like she was like, maybe you should go to the doctor. And she's like, they just told me over the phone to drink a lot or something like that. And it's like, what? Yeah, he just told people what they wanted to hear. And he told so many lies to Cadel in that book. The reason why I say that is because that's where he came out saying when he strangled her, her eyes filled with blood. He had already said in the prison interview they didn't fill with blood. And then he switched it in the prison interview, like maybe that's when they did. Like he said so many flip-flop things that when you check the autopsy, it straight up says her eyes were white. So they were not bloodshot. So he just has lied so many times that when people say, Chris said it, he admitted it. It's like, okay, he also said Shanann killed the kids. Like, I'm not going to believe a word he says. He also says NK, she's a good person, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't believe that. Sorry, and I don't care if people think the oxy thing is true.
Everything we know.
Hold on, I want to show you guys something. This I will link in the description box. It's a live stream I did a while ago with CDT. And then other people have said, I have text messages that Jamie says, his sister, that she gave him the oxy, but they never shared the text messages. Like, sorry. I mean, unless you prove it, I'm just not going to believe it. All right. I just wanted to play this one part of our live stream. I highly recommend checking this one out. We kind of zoom in and analyze the sheets in this one as well.
I feel like the majority of people think that she was in their bedroom anyways.
I'd agree. Yeah, I think most people.
Okay, so.
And then this just shows, there's still 2 pillows right here. It looks like socks.
Mm-hmm.
Keep playing it.
So the thing is, though, on Tuesday night, he stays with a friend, right?
Yeah, the Thayers.
So this is, even though this is, some of these are taken on Wednesday, this is the state that it was in on Tuesday when he left it. So he's remade the bed. Those last few pictures were showing you Bella's room. And it is showing that one of her pillows, for whatever reason, is in the middle of their master bedroom. So when he remade the bed, he brought one of her pillows in there.
Yeah. Like, why?
Says Monday, Chris spent in my notes. Monday, Chris spent the night at the house. Tuesday, Chris. Oh, sorry. Okay, Tuesday, Chris spent the night with friends. These were taken Wednesday during the search warrant. Why was there Bella's pillow on Chris and Shanann's bed? And there's those two pillows laying on the floor that were for the bed, the big bed. To me, that's weird.
I think that's weird too. Thank you, Melissa C. My husband still curses the day he said, hey, oh no, you got to see this guy on the news with a missing family. I am since hooked, right? So he's the one who was like, who pointed it out to you, and then you fell into the rabbit hole. Yeah, Bella snuck in the bed, but this was
this
overnight.
was Tuesday.
Yeah.
So he stayed.
He had to have done that night gone.
Right.
That's very interesting.
And it's like, was he keeping a space between that side of the bed and the other? Was he keeping it there to feel closer to them? Like, what was the purpose of him putting one of her pillows in between that spot and those other pillows being on the floor that were for the bed?
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, maybe someone else made the bed.
But then that would mean somebody else was in the house Monday night.
Right.
And from what we know, he did have friends over, but they didn't stay the night.
Mm-hmm.
Because Chris said he was up all night with all the lights on and he was scared.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then in case saying he's in like a tank top doing laundry and talking on the phone with no sheets on a bed.
It's very
she's it's weird. Made the bed.
Yes, Bella. The nitrile glove in the bedroom was found near the pillows on the floor. This was, again, I'm going to link the whole stream. It's on CDT's channel, and we just kind of discuss everything about the sheets in the case over there. But I just thought that I had forgotten about that aspect. So I don't know if you guys were following, but the girls' beds were not made on Monday, remember, in the body cam footage, and he tells the cops that, oh no, that sometimes that's normal. And then all Shanann's friends came out saying, like, no, that's not normal. Could NK have snuck in the back that night, or was the back surveillanced? So Chris was under surveillance from the second, on Monday. From the second they kind of leave, they came back with a search warrant, went through things again, and then they left, and it's noted that they were watching him. So it's possible, but she would have to get around people seeing her enter, But don't you guys think this is weird? Do we have any info in the discovery about all the lights being on that night? He had law enforcement watching the house. I think someone would note that. Right. I don't think there's anything in the discovery noting that. I know that Chris has mentioned it numerous times. Let me check. I'm just going to word search lights on. Okay, hold on. Let me share my screen. Okay, before I share my screen, do you guys see what I'm saying? Like he took one of Bella's pillows, put it between these two pillows the one night that he stayed the night there at his house. The next night he stays at a friend's house. The following night he stays the night in jail. So here we were just wondering, like, why would he not only leave the pillows from the bed on the floor, and remember those pillowcases were found in the trash, but he moves Bella's pillow in between them. Just kind of strange. What night was it that he asked it was a law enforcement friend to stay to park outside? I believe that was Monday night. So he asked his own friend to kind of watch the house. So this kind of all is like circumstantial stuff that kind of leads me to think that like there were others involved that were threatening him as well. Again, people take that as you're painting him out to be a victim. Like, no, I just think that this is bigger than what we think, and there's other people involved, and maybe they were unhappy with cops being involved and their plan not following through with the explosion, all that. Again, that kind of goes out in left field as far as us, theorizing and getting into stuff that's not like 100%, but circumstantial evidence is evidence. So let's see what this says. Don't know. Supplemental report. Oh, I think this is about the woman entering the house. Oh, yeah, we'll have to get into this in another date. That was in September. All right, guys. I think that's it for the night. We can look into if there's anything mentioned in the discovery about the lights being kept on all night for sure. I can write that down as something to do. I just am like tired, guys. And I like to keep things at like an hour and a half. So I appreciate you all being here. Again, all I ask of you guys to do is just hit that like button. Thank you everyone who wished me happy birthday yesterday and for, just hanging out with me tonight and Friday night. I know you guys could be doing a lot of different things. We miss Florida bass fishing. He hates when I go live on Friday nights. So I'm going to try to keep it to Thursday nights for Watts, but it was my birthday. So I kind of just chilled for the night. But anyways, guys, we will talk very soon. And I hope that this was an interesting discussion for you guys. There's so much for us to kind of go through in this case. That, we can just keep doing these weekly. Again, I am still following the Sebastian Rogers case. So we have had no updates in that case this week. So sadly, where I think we're on day 46 or 47 at this point. So we need an update for sure in that case. Something needs to be moving. Even if they just come out saying like, yes, we're going to call it a criminal investigation right now. They haven't done so. But lots of other things too that we're covering. Chad Daybell's trial. Definitely want to discuss that. Thank you guys so much. Hi, Melissa. Good to see you. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad you like it here. I'm glad you guys are all here. So we will talk very soon, guys. And Jay, have a good, safe trip home. And home, I mean back to the U.S. I hope everything went well in your visit too. But bye, guys.